Hello and welcome to another episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast. Now I know some of this information is gonna be a little late. That's because this podcast was scheduled to release October 20th. I think this is coming out, and I recorded this on about 2 weeks ago. So anyway, thank you all for listening to this episode of the podcast. There's a few things I want to talk about. I'm Martell Rowland, by the way. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Martell Rowland. But yes, a few things that I want to talk about. As far as me, what's going on right now, I'm still trying to figure some stuff out and do the best I can to figure some of those things out. But so there was a police officer here, go by the name of Joseph Mensah, and this police officer, I think he's only been on the police force for maybe 5 years, and this police officer has killed, shot dead 3 innocent people. Well, I wouldn't say innocent because of all the police, but it's the amount of times that he has shot, and it was crazy because his last incident where he shot this teenage boy at the Mayfair Mall in the parking lot, which is a mall here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the Wauwatosa suburban area. And he shot this kid. No other officer shot. I guess no other officers felt like they were in danger where they needed to shot, but he did. And he shot and killed this teenage boy. And yet, they made the decision as of yesterday for this man to keep his job and not fire him or don't even hold him responsible or liable for that young man's death. And once again, here we go. They're tearing up, in the Wauwatosa area, they were looting and tearing up businesses and all these things. And it's crazy because even the mall out there, they closed the mall at 4, and they had businesses, boarding up and stuff. And I feel like they knew, if y'all had the audacity to tell businesses or have businesses board up their stores and have their businesses shut down before you even release whether you were going to fire this person, that means you knew that you wasn't going to fire the person in the first place. You knew everything that was going on. So why do all this waiting and press conference and all this other kind of stuff? Just go out and say like, hey, we're not going to fire him, into that, and then let people go out and do what they're going to do. And you knew that it was going to happen, and people are angry. Now, for this instance, this is a black man. Joseph Mensah is a black man, and like I said, yes, he should have been charged and fired. And I don't, they're looking at like, and a lot of people are looking at like, oh, we're only, like the Black Lives Matter people are only going after, white officers. Like, no, that's not true. They're going after more than just white officers. And this is one of those things that we just do not condemn. No matter what race you are, what nationality you are, whatever you are, we do not condone or want to keep putting up with. I don't think we use the condone part right. We will not keep standing for you killing people for unnecessary reasons. That boy could have been in jail right now, and still alive and thinking about what he did and paying for his crime, not 6 feet under, not being able to start a family or be able to experience life, enjoy life, get to, do everything that to learn and to grow from what this mistake that he did. Anyways, while with Tosa police, you have a lot of explaining to do. On a happier note, y'all, I had the most blondish moment ever. So Kelly Rowland released some pictures, and I'm so happy this is probably blown over by then. So I look like, oh, this must be some pictures from her pregnancy with Titan that she never put out. Like, I never even read the captions or anything. I'm like, oh, this must be pictures, like I said, from when she was pregnant with Titan. Like, oh, these are nice pictures. Scrolling later on that day, come home. No, I wasn't even at home. I was at work, and I'm on Twitter, and I'm looking, and I'm like, and then I see Michelle Williams tweet. She's like, oh, congratulations on baby number 2. I'm like, huh? Like, she pregnant again? I didn't even know that. So then I go back and look at the pictures again, like, oh, these are recent pictures. Like, oh, okay, got it. I was so bleak to that moment and just like, yeah, I didn't. I paid no attention. Like, oh, so that's why we didn't get no new music. Oh, that's why we never got no more music videos. Like, oh, that's why we didn't get no live performance. Oh, that's why we didn't get this. Like, oh, okay, now everything makes sense. So then on top of that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, she probably not doing till like late winter or something like that. And they're like, no, ET according to ET, she was due by the end of the year. She due by the end of the year. I'm like, oh, so she been hiding this pregnancy for a long time. Like, oh, well, okay. I'm like, well, that's guess that's what coffee and sex in the morning get you a baby. So y'all better y'all better watch out for that. Anyways, congratulations, Kelly. Yay. Um, so the meaning of Mariah Carey was the number one audiobook. Um, it was, I believe, it was the number one like hardcover selling book or something like that. But it's also a New York Times bestseller book. So I was like, wow. So speaking of it, I finally got a little bit farther along in the book. I'm about halfway through the book at this point of this recording, and like I said, like I just like you would have never known the you would think that her and her mother had a better relationship than what they did, and reading that book is almost mean I wouldn't say hate her mother. She just hated the relationship that she had with her mother and the decisions that her mother made at that moment. I mean, like I said, there's no book about how to be a parent. Every parent learn on their own, but it just shows how much she loved her father so much. It's like she, I don't even really think she really talked bad about her father and stuff. I think the time where he turned into like a full fledged bachelor or whatever or something like that. But other than that, like she never really talked bad about her father like that. And the whole Ritz cracker thing when she had tweeted out about the Ritz cracker, like, oh my god. So she would be like her father would give her, she would want a snack, and her father was like a military guy, so he believed you had to earn things. So he would give her one Ritz cracker, and she was like, I would savor that Ritz cracker, and I would eat it oh so slowly until dinner was done, because I knew that I was only going to get that one Ritz cracker. I was just like, wow. And then the whole wedding with Tommy Mottola, where she thought that marrying him was gonna change him, and if I gave in to what he want, maybe he'll loosen his grip on me and let me be a better person. And I didn't know that house I did at that first house they lived together. I didn't know that Mariah helped pay for that house he built. I didn't know that she went half on. That's what a matter of fact. I didn't even know she had it built from the ground up. So that was surprising to hear. But she said like I built my own prison. Like he had security guards everywhere, armed security guards everywhere. He had cameras everywhere. I think she was like the only place that she will feel comfortable in was the bathroom because it's the only place that did not have a camera. I said, "Well, wow, that's pretty sad to feel and to to live like that." And the way how she described how surprised and he had happy when like the whole situation where she revealed the house that she had bought for her mother was like crazy, and how she had like it's like some type of cinnamon and something else was made sure it was baked at the time, so when she walked in it smelled like that. I was like, oh, that is just so cute. Oh, but yeah. Oh, and then her sister tried to pimp her out, y'all. So apparently Mariah's sister got pregnant at age 15, and I guess by a Filipino guy or something like that, and got sent overseas. Well, married the guy and had the baby, and then she got sent over to the Philippines, and guess whatever lived over in the Philippines for a while, came back and was on all kinds of drugs. She moved in with this pimp and one of her other friends, and basically would go pick up Mariah, and then she said Mariah said she'd be her sister. When she go with her sister and this guy, I can't remember the guy name she said or whatever name she used, that she'd be in the back and they let her smoke cigarettes and they do all these things, and she'd have all like the snacks at the house where she lived at with the pimp for Mariah came over, and it was this one incident where they guess her sister called Mariah like, hey, such and such is going to be coming to pick you up or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, I'm thinking, but she's like, I'm thinking we're going to go to the city and just have a good old time. They're going to let me do whatever I want to do, smoke some cigarettes, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, basically her sister never showed up. So basically she with this guy. This guy took her to like a pool hall, this card game, whatever. She said she just sat in the corner while these creepy old men just looked at her and all this kind of stuff. And then the guy takes her to like a drive-in movie theater, and I think he put his arm around her and tried to kiss her. And then the guy that was in the car next to them looked over and saw them, and I guess can realize that this is a big grown man in this car with this little girl. So they eventually left, and he took her home. And basically, like I said, she tried to pimp Mariah out, her sister. I can't remember her sister name. Oh, I can't remember the sister name. But her sister tried to pimp her out to, pimp her out. And I think at the time Mariah was like 12 when this was happening, 12, 13, somewhere around there when this is happening. So it was like, wow, it makes me see this woman in a whole totally different way. And it's like, a lot of people hate Mariah, being like, oh, she acts like this and she acts like this and she does this and she does that. Like, I understand why she does a lot of stuff that she did or do, and why she buy the what things that she do and live her life the way she live, because she grew up poor like the rest of us. Like, when you finally make it and you get money to basically do whatever it is that you want to do, what do you expect for them to do? What do you still expect them to be act poor? You still expect them to, not relish in what they created or what they have worked so hard to get. So stop being so angry with people. People are really jealous of Mariah Carey, and I just don't understand why. And it's a lot of older women. Like, what did Mariah do to you? Mariah ain't did nothing to you. Mariah just out here living her best life. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, back to me. So, as of right now, I'm still working on that whole situation that I talked to you all about last week. I kind of upset. Oh my god, they are killing me with these Mike Pence flight memes. Um, what was I even talking about? Yeah, the whole thing. Still waiting on my transfer to go through. So yeah. Oh, they have volunteers right now trying to clean up from the looting that happened from when Joseph Mensah, they let him off the hook again for a third murder. I wonder how many more people he gonna kill before they fire him. Is what I want to know. That's really what I want to know. How you doing, Wendy? Oh, look at that! It's Charlotte Flair and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm getting so off topic. Wait, what was I talking? Oh yes, I'm still waiting on my transfer to go through. Yes, I'm still trying to pull it. Trey Songz test positive for COVID-19 this week of his album. He got a new album coming out. I did not know that. I didn't hear about the last album come out. What has Trey Songz been up to besides the baby? Sister X3? Whoopi Goldberg's confirmed Sister X3 is in the works. What? Who would have thought that? Well, what would it be about? Ain't most of the well, I guess hopefully it be worth it. Okay, I'm starting to ramble. So oh, did y'all see the what's Joe Biden plans on cutting student loans for people who make less than I think 125,000. Way to go. I'm all for it. Oh, speaking of before I go. So the whole coronavirus thing here in Wisconsin has gotten a bit ridiculous. I think we got the highest rates now where I live at. Now they are limiting bars and clubs and stuff back down to 25% occupancy. I think that if we don't change things up, or figure out a solution to bring these cases down of amount of people that's testing positive, we're gonna be heading for another shutdown. People are like, oh, we don't need to do another shutdown. That's gonna hurt businesses. Well, if you guys would have been doing what you were supposed to do in the first place, maybe things wouldn't be so bad. Like, it's a lot of ignorant people that would work, especially in the rural areas out there where it's like a bunch of farming or like in the middle of nowhere. Those people are very ignorant to what's really going on. They don't see what we see in the hospital, especially for us hospital workers. They don't even see any of that. And they don't see how many people this is actually affecting and how many people are actually getting sick. And they are out there just oblivious to it. And then some of these young people like, well, I'm just gonna go out club and I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna wear my mask. I'm gonna do that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to nobody's club. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to nobody's bar because you don't know who got what, and you don't know how it can even get passed on to you. Because at first they were saying it wasn't transmittable through the air, and now it is. And it's crazy because I heard some people say, well, you can't catch it from somebody who's asymptomatic, but then I have seen people who get sick from a person who was asymptomatic. So it's like, what else did you? It's just, we just need to keep our distances and stay safe and clean our hands and do whatever we can to stay safe and just really listen to what the scientists and health professionals are saying. Do not listen to Donald Trump because, as you can see, Donald Trump does not believe in science. He don't believe in what they're saying is true. So I mean, like, how do he expect people to get a vaccine if he don't want us to believe the health experts who are making the vaccine? So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna end this episode right here. I want to thank you all for listening. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Facebook. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow the podcast on Facebook, which is Same Cast Different Day Podcast on Facebook. And then you can also find the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at SCDD Podcast. And if you have any questions for me, or if you have any questions for Tina Marie, or have any ideas or suggestions of what we should do on the podcast, feel free to email us at scddpodcast@gmail.com. You do get a response within a day. So yeah. And then don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Marta Rowland. So I want to thank you all for listening and see you next week. Oh, and don't forget to vote. Vote because your voice matters.